Okay, hope you all are doing well. First question, I did not have really any idea about the gut microbiome. I remember walking in kind of that first Monday, Wednesday of the two in-person classes of this class prior to it being moved online, and Mr. Ferguson mentioning the gut microbiome as being important, and never really heard of that. Definitely hadn't considered it important to health. So my knowledge of it has expanded quite a lot just watching that lecture, but also just kind of being in the class as well. Uh, Talking about the second question, I the fact that a single dose of antibiotics can kill a third of the gut microbiome really stuck out to me. And so after watching the lecture, I went and looked up painkillers on gut health. I know antibiotics and painkillers are different, but also that a lot of people experience um, kind of gut problems after taking Oxycontin or oxycodone, and I know those are very common. I have a friend who just went through some surgery. I know those are very common painkillers to receive, but also even more common painkillers are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, including aspirin and ibuprofen. And first website that came up talked about um, how bad they were for gut health, saying they do not solve the problem; they just alleviate short-term symptoms. And you maybe think that maybe they're not that common, but they are certainly more common in older populations. Almost half of those over 65 report using aspirin daily or every other day. And one of the reasons it jumped out to me was because it seems like there's always a solution to the symptom rather than a solution to the problem, and that perhaps one of the reasons reasons for it is people like making products. They like making money, which is important if capitalism is to work, but also makes me think more about the fact that some perhaps medical advancements or nutritional advancements come with much greater downsides than I once thought. I never thought about a C-section having any negative side effects apart from perhaps a large scar. But as noted by Mr. Fickerson, those who um, are born via C-section are significantly more susceptible to allergies and other childhood illnesses. Um, Makes me think that general health products are much more commodified than they are. You are given one pill, or they're much more commodified than they used to be. You're given one pill, and then you're given a second one to solve the side effects of the first. And maybe they weren't commodified that long ago because there have been continual advancements and there weren't that many health products to begin with, and perhaps they've always been commodified. It was just that there were less of them prior. But it seems to me that the root of a lot of solutions is uh, never really fixed, and maybe gut health being a root of other causes, um, having a healthier gut microbiome across society may help alleviate a lot of these other symptoms. But I do wonder also what um, solutions the to the gut microbiome may be implemented. I know Mr. Ferguson touched on fecal transplants, and that one of the ways they did that is through a nasal tube that eventually ends up in your intestine or colon, I presume. And I think that that is nasty, personally. Obviously, people have their own. Not to say you shouldn't do it. That's not what I'm getting at. But just thinking about that, if somebody just came from our past, where certainly there were a lot of problems, but they saw us doing that as a solution where there are much simpler solutions, they would think us crazy. And perhaps that's a common thing that's occurred throughout human history, us looking at each other at different points in time, um, especially looking back and thinking or knowing that we did not have the greatest intentions or knowledge. But given that that's one solution and that the other solutions listed, or maybe just guidelines in order to grow a healthier gut microbiome, are eat regularly, get a pet, play in the dirt, and buy food from local and organic farmers. Um, I just think that some other maybe outside medical solutions are really not the strongest, and that all these other ones, exercise regularly, we've been told that all our lives. Getting a pet improves your mental health and it can speed recovery after a stressful event. Playing in the dirt or going outside also improves, in my experience and in medical studies as well, is shown to improve mental health. Now, I'm not sure what other benefits one might receive from buying local. Perhaps you'll meet more of your neighbors. Perhaps there are no other benefits apart from the gut health, which is not a bad one, obviously, in the first place. And the last question, how do I plan to take advantage of this newfound information? Now, already having kind of learned about this on the sidelines throughout a couple of the lectures, I've definitely begun to eat, I guess, just a wider variety of plants. I've never been a big meat buyer for perhaps the last 5 years. I'm not a huge fan of just looking at the raw meat and cooking it. But yeah, definitely started to buy more just dried fruits, nuts, um, greens, and it wasn't when I grew up. I was often looking at the nutrition labels, but I hadn't done that for a while. But now, if I do, fiber is one of, if not the only thing that I'm looking at um, when I do so. And additionally, I will tell my friends this seems to be pretty big thing if it can affect so many other processes in the body that seems obvious more people should know about it. So if I can be some help in spreading that word, that'll be awesome, and I plan to do so.